Hello, everyone. Welcome to Camera Culture, a series from Well FM that puts the diverse creators of the NFT movement into focus. My guest today is Victoria West, an award-winning portrait photographer from Canada. Victoria is a veteran in the photography space and has earned success through many competitions and giving back through education. Not only to mention that she is very, very important in the NFT space as an advocate. Welcome, Victoria.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Again, like I said, you're a very special guest, so we're very excited to have you. This is kind of like our reintroduction of camera culture. So you're kind of one of our first interviewees. So very excited to have you.
Well, that's awesome. I'm really happy to be here. I'm feeling now too with that intro.
Oh, awesome. Well, I usually ramble on a lot, but if you wouldn't mind, so if for those of us who don't know you, a lot of us do, would you give us a brief introduction about yourself? And we'll start there, and then we'll just continue on.
Yeah, sure. So I've been a photographer my entire adult life. I run a studio here in New Brunswick, Canada. So I'm in the Atlantic provinces, so like above Maine. No one knows where it is. I'm above Maine. So yeah, I take portraits of people. That's how I make money. So I do like hair, makeup, photo shoot, mostly women, and then I also do a lot of business portraits. And I've been doing that for a long time. And in my spare time, I've made art just for myself, really. The only thing I ever did with it was put it in competition, because here in New Brunswick, the art scene is maybe not like, it's not New York. So I wasn't trying to sell it. I never thought that would even be a possibility. And then I ended up in the NFT space winter of 2021. Thanks to Clubhouse, I came across NFT rooms and I was like, what is this? And it seemed like a good idea at the time. And since then, I've been completely obsessed. I totally neglect the business that actually pays me. And I spend all my time here in this space. So, yeah. No, but I love it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm resonating with you a bit on the neglect of the business that actually pays me a lot. I'm obsessed myself. So we have that in common, big time. Before we get too crazy into NFTs, as a creative, what are the professional or artistic goals that are extremely important to you when you make something? We're just coming straight out of the gate with.
I can't really. I literally make things because something usually triggers me. So like something is like replaying in my mind, or something's upsetting me, or there's something in my head that I just need to like get out. And when I do that, I don't do it with like any intention of, is this going to sell, or is this going to match my aesthetic or anything like that. I'm just like, this is what I need to make. But everything always ends up being pretty cohesive because it's all coming from me, and it's all coming from me. So it all kind of works together, I guess. It's not super intentional.
So, wow. Okay. Let's explore that for a minute. Cause me and you and I are kind of the same way when it comes to making stuff. So you have this feeling, you have this emotion that you're trying to express and trying to get out, maybe, but you don't know what that is until you start creating. Does that kind of make sense?
Oh no, I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
It'll be like, okay, so my latest piece was about the overturning of Roe versus Wade. In May, when that was leaked, I heard about it. I was super upset about it, like I was shook. And then instantly I just started having all these visions of images that I wanted to make. And then I made one, and then I felt better, because I don't want to write a big rant. Like I don't want to write about it. I don't like writing, really. I just want to put my opinion, my thoughts on, something like visual and just like put it here. Like, there it is. Now you know what I think. So like often it'll be like that. Other times, like I lost my mom. So I have a lot of, I think about death like all the time. I mean, not all the time, but like a lot. Or, like mortality, life, the quickness of life, aging, all of these things are like often playing in my mind. So I know this about myself. And when I look at my work, it's there. Like I'm putting it out there. It's therapy. Makes me feel better.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I'm going to put this on the screen because I've heard you talk. Just want to get to this. This is the one that we were just talking about with your mother. So this resonates with me a lot, by the way. And yeah, so if you could just talk about that a bit, because it kind of dives into what you were just saying. I absolutely love this piece, by the way. It really hits home for me. But yeah, why don't you talk about that for a second so our viewers can get an idea?
Yeah, this one. So I have a couple on Maker's Place that are about like motherhood, child relationships, the relationships between women. And I guess I could say I have like mommy issues. I have mommy issues. And so I think like a lot of this, like I've thought a lot about that stuff, like how like formative that relationship is, and how much it affects you, and how it really does shape who you become like from such an early age. And so I wanted to, create beautiful images kind of showing that bond. This particular piece, I'd actually envisioned a child like walking towards their mother, but this little one, she was like, no, you're not letting go of me. She's like, you gotta hold me, right? And like just the body position of her, and the relationship between them. I just think I really love this one.
Wow. Yeah. And so take us through and sorry, I'm going a little off script here, but take us through a shoot for this, because are these real life subjects? Are you like you're photographing these folks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I am definitely
so
photographing these people. Yeah. No, I'm shooting them both in the studio. So I really like to have total control over lighting and all of this stuff. Not that you can't do that outdoors, but um, where I live, like we don't have this type of landscape, right? And I tend to like a really like painterly look. I'm very like drawn to the Renaissance kind of paintings, and the epicness of these scenes. And here everything's kind of like quaint. We don't have like a lot of epic. I mean, there are, I guess, some areas, but also the people who I'm photographing are like this woman had hired me to photograph her and her mom for like a hair makeup photo shoot, sort of like glamour style photo shoot, which is what I do all the time. So she was just a regular client who I had like put an ad out kind of on Facebook saying I'm looking for a woman with a really young child who would be willing to pose nude. um, so she's not like a professional model or anything. Um, so being outdoors would be very, uncomfortable for her as well. And, it takes a lot of trust to do something like that. She already trusted me because we worked together before. So, yeah, I photographed them in the studio. And then this whole scene that's around them, I created from images that I have taken in Europe, actually, like when I was traveling. So I think this one is probably made up of, I think there's like 5 different images that I've created this scene out of. So it's not like I didn't like take that landscape and then stick them in it. It's all built around them. So I'm
wow.
kind of using like my camera like a painter would use their paintbrush sort of thing.
Yeah, and the aesthetic that you create is just phenomenal. I mean, you could tell that. I'm just going to jump to. I mean, it's very hard to capture this moment like you said, because when you said the baby was having a really hard time letting go, and I mean you hit it you hit it right on the head. But your aesthetic is, I mean, it you have this style that's like, you described it perfectly. It's like it's like a Renaissance painting. It's very unique. I find it very interesting and unique, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah, I really I want my images to be timeless. So when you look at them, you have no idea like what time period they're from. They could be from now, they could be from, 100, 200 years ago. Like I want it to be completely timeless. Maybe that's because like in my portrait business, I'm always thinking like I don't want people to put a family portrait up on their wall and then be like, like we look back like, oh my God, that's so 80s or whatever. I don't want that. So I always want things to look really timeless. I think probably that's also why I often go with nude subjects, not because I mean, I do like the way skin photographs for sure. I'm not trying to be like overt with my nudity. I'm definitely not like sexualizing it at all. But clothing tends to really place people in a time period, right? So, I mean, this is one of the few with clothes on. Would have been weird nude. But yeah, this one is I remember when I was talking about this, like when I was trying to sell it, I think I cried every day in every clubhouse room for like a month. This was definitely a therapy piece for sure.
Yeah, I understand that completely. For various reasons. So, um, moving on a little bit. So I'm gonna put this down for a second. Okay. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is, how important is the commercial side of what you do, during the creative process? Are you thinking about that a lot, or is it something that you don't even care about? You just want to create something?
I don't care. I mean, not that I think about it. Like I think about it in the sense that I'm like, this one's not going to be popular. I'll be like, shit, like men are not going to be into this one. But I don't care. Like I already get paid to take portraits that I don't necessarily, that I wouldn't be taking if I wasn't getting money for them. Like I already do that and I get paid decently to do that. I didn't come here to make more portraits that I'm not like inspired to take. So yeah, I'm just doing what I want to do.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. It's that's exactly how I feel. I just want to do what I want to do. Right?
That's the dream, right? I'm like, oh, if people are into my creative work, then I could free myself and only have to do what I want to do, right? And that is the ultimate dream. Whether or not that will ever happen, I don't know. But at least in this space, it is like a possibility that never did for me before.
Yeah, it's more of a reality in this space. And I think that's what attracted me, because I never really thought that I could make it in the other world, if you want to divide the two worlds. But I never thought that I would be able to do anything like this, to be quite honest. Make art and sell it. Wow, that's like, I'm a computer analyst by trade, so it doesn't quite fit. But being able to do that and have fun with it, that's inspiring to me. We heard about how you got into the NFT space, but what really what attracted you? I mean, when you first heard about it, it's probably a little bit foreign, but what really attracted you, to get into the space? And when you jumped into Clubhouse, because I remember Clubhouse very vividly.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in there. What most attracted me, I guess, like everything about it was really exciting to me. For one, a lot of my work is challenging. I'd say it's challenging. Some of it is beautiful and, would fit in like a lot of like homes, I guess, is decor. But overall, a lot of my themes are challenging and not necessarily what is going to look good over a sofa. Do you know what I mean? So like, as far as selling art, like I always thought of fine art as being, you're selling it for what people are willing to put in their homes. And here people put like, river landscapes over their couch, or maybe abstracts, but they're not putting, a woman in chains or a slaughter truck up on the wall, right?
Right.
So as soon as I like heard about NFTs, and I'm like, wait a minute, people are collecting these not necessarily to put up, albeit sometimes they do put them up, but like not necessarily to display as home decor, but like to create a collection of art that they're proud of, that they think is meaningful or whatever. Like, to me, I thought maybe there would be a space for me in that, which was really exciting. And I'm not a person who's like afraid of change or like afraid of technology or switching things up. So instantly I was like, I need to know everything now. It's been like 24 hours a day on Clubhouse for, I don't know, 6 months straight or something.
Man, that's great. Yeah, we all have those kind of stories where we jumped into this and we're just the energy is so, and I guess intoxicating. It's just it's so fresh, it's so new. There's so much energy, and we want to grow and we want to do something different. So I get that completely. That makes sense, and I love that you're embracing all these. Yeah, I mean, you've really embraced, like, not only are you on, so you're on Super Rare, you're on Maker's Place, you're on Known Origin, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I've minted like pretty much everywhere.
yeah, and honestly, I saw you at the. I listened to a few of your Twitter Spaces on Object, and so that's a different blockchain for those of you who don't know. So that's the Tezos blockchain. And you've really embraced that side of things. Maybe you could talk a little bit about how you got to. I mean, you went from Ethereum. Was Ethereum your first blockchain?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
Yeah, if I wasn't the first photographer on Tezos, I must have been in the first, like, 5 probably. Like, I minted on Hickok at the very end of March, which like March 2021, which I ended up burning that one, which was stupid. So it looks like, I think my Genesis, so that's just my object collection. But if you go up higher and you click on, see my blue name, if you click on that, that will actually show you everything that I've created on Tezos. So you can scroll down. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. So I think my Genesis was like April 8th, 2021. If you go to the very back, the last one, you probably would see that. It might have the Last Supper would be my Genesis. So yeah, of course. Come on.
Of course.
From Calumet, and Calumet and Object don't work that great together. But
no.
So my intention was always to start on both simultaneously. So but I wanted to be on Foundation. And at the time, getting on Foundation was like, it wasn't easy. Invites were few and far between. So it took me almost to the end of April to get an invite from Foundation. So I had minted the Last Supper. I minted first because that was an image I created about the environment when Australia was burning in 2020. And I just felt like, so I was just learning, there was big debates going on in Clubhouse between like Kevin from Tezos and Alan from ETH, and they're like debating, and it was like really heated. But the one thing that I really got from that was, the difference between proof of stake and proof of work. And I'm like, okay, well, if I made this one about the environment, maybe I should put this on Tezos. Like, that makes sense. So I did that. And in the meantime, I was waiting to get on Foundation. So I got on Foundation. It took me about a month to get an invite. And then I minted like 4 pieces, but I only listed one because gas was crazy high at the time. So I had minted a bunch together thinking I'd, spread out the listings. I had no idea what I was doing. Anyway, Foundation sent me an email like a week later, and they told me that 2 of my pieces had been deemed objectionable and they'd been removed from the platform. And if I wanted them back, I had to burn them. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I mean, I was so blown away. Both of them were on Facebook and Instagram for like years. One of them represented Canada in the World Photographic Cup. I mean, these were images that I never expected to get censored on. Like, I was shocked. So I put it on Twitter. And by the way, the email wasn't like, oh, appeal here or anything. It was like, you're done. You're done. So I took the email and the images and I made a tweet about it. And I put it on Twitter, and the community went like crazy. Because, of course, people were looking at it going, how was this banned?
Ugh.
I know it was banned because it was animal rights messaging, and that really pisses people off. Right? I don't want to hear that. I'm like, you can do a lot of things, but being an animal rights activist is like top of the list for like no-go. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that's what it was about. But because of that, I am stubborn. I'm so stubborn, and Foundation really pissed me off. And when they did reinstate me, but the email that they sent me was really like passive aggressive, and I thought it was unprofessional, and I was not impressed, and I didn't want to give them any more of my money. So now I had no platform again on it. So I ended up on Tezos, only Tezos for like 3 months until suddenly I got all the other platforms, right? Like all at once, but it's like a couple weeks. So that's why I'm everywhere. So it was like Foundation, and then I got Known Origin, and then I got the invite to Maker's Place, and then Super Rare in like January. So, but I really like Maker's Place. So even though I'm on Super Rare, it's Maker's Place and Super Rare for me now on Ethereum. And then I'm still on Tezos. But yeah, for a while I was only Tezos. So I got to know that chain pretty well and did a lot of onboarding there, and it's kind of blowing up right now, which is so surprising.
It is, yeah. You know, you hit. I mean, I get you're like a Tezos OG, really. You know, given the timeline, and I know that you know, I played with it a little bit back. Actually, I will credit my wife to playing with it, because I gave her all my Tezos, and then she started to mint on there and buy some cool stuff. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, she was all over that. And you know, your experience. So you know, I think going from Tezos to ETH, the experience is different. However, I think you learn a lot from that. And so you know, you've been helping people get into the space and get into and you're right, you know, objects and Tezos blowing up. But how is your experience helping people get into this? I know your website says that you've been trying to, you know, to onboard people into NFTs. You know, today, where would you start when you want to onboard somebody?
Well, it's definitely easier to onboard people onto Tezos because they don't even have to buy any crypto. I can just give them a Tez or two and away they go, right? So that's like a really good starting point. A lot of the people that I did onboard started on Tezos. And then once they felt comfortable with the whole process, they felt, you know, empowered to then, you know, go on to ETH and buy the crypto and all of that stuff. So not that I'm saying Tezos is just like a starting chain, but it is a really good place to learn, make mistakes before you branch out elsewhere. Because, you know, like mistakes on Ethereum can really cost you.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I've done like, I'm really involved with Professional Photographers of Canada. So I've spoken a few times to them about NFTs. And I think, you know, just like through Clubhouse, we were constantly onboarding people, and I mean, it's happening again now. So I was thinking, like, somebody gave me gift wallets with art in it the other day. Andressa, that was one of the things they did in New York. So imagine you could give someone, here's a wallet, there's a bunch of art in it. It's got the seed phrase. Obviously, it's not secure, but it's a gift. And now you're like, oh, well, maybe I should check this out. Maybe I need to download this. It's like a way to kind of bring people in. And doing that on Ethereum, unless you have a lot of money, you know, it's not really something you can do. So I've been thinking like, I think I'm going to do that with like friends and family who are interested, but also, you know, they're like nervous about it. It seems daunting, just like all the people on ETH who are like, oh, I can't get another wallet. Like that's, that's going to be a lot. I'm like, come on. Come on. You can do it.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, that's some good advice, and I love the idea of giving someone a wallet full of art, because that's an amazing experience when you first get in, and then I mean, how much fun is it to go through a wallet and see what you have, especially if you were gifted it. I mean, it's just, yeah, I get pretty excited about that stuff. um, Pivoting a little bit. So, you've been in this market for a while. You've been on different platforms. You've been in different blockchains. What are your? I'm just curious what your thoughts are on the current NFT market, because you've seen it good, really good, right? And now you're kind of seeing it a little bit slower. So, what are your thoughts?
I like it better right now.
I love that answer, by the way.
It feels like it's gotten cleaned up. Like we took the trash out. It's much cleaner. My Twitter, it's not bombarded with like, I don't know, poop projects. And although I actually did see one today, I saw pooping ladies or something. But like overall, it feels like the space has gone back to the art. It feels like art is, back on top right now, which is nice because when when we're in a bull market, all the speculators are coming in, and they're not like, I don't want people buying my art because for the only reason that they think it might blow up and make them a bunch of money. Like, I want people to buy my art because they like it, they connect with it, they genuinely want it, and then if I can make the money on top of that, great. But like, the speculators, it can create a lot of toxicity, I think. And it just like, I don't know, bad vibes. So it's better now. I like it.
Yeah. And we could talk about that in depth. Maybe we'll save that for another talk. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that the market, I actually like it better in these times, because you're absolutely right. The real comes out. The people that are here for the right reasons, and a lot of the speculators are kind of on the fence, and it's okay to have some speculation, to be quite honest, but like you said, I mean, it feels better when someone can buy your art for, because they resonate with it, because they like you as an artist, versus trying to make a flip or trying to make some extra money. It doesn't feel as good. And I like that we're here back to kind of a real market, that's not inflated or not manipulated in a way. So I'm 100% with you there. So thank you for liking this market better.
I think there's a difference between investing in someone because you believe in them as an artist and you believe in their future versus buying their art because you think you can flip it and make money because there's hype. You know what I mean? Like, right. And you're right. Like, there's some level of speculation, but it's like, the FOMO hype is not the way, I don't think.
Ooh, yeah. I think that is, and people might yell at me for this, but I think it's bad for the space. I think it ruins a lot of things. And when you see, prices on art that are so overinflated, you can't get into it anymore. Great. I'm happy for the artist. I'm happy for the project. Sure. I'm happy for the person that could make that type of money, but I don't think it's healthy. And I think that now we're kind of seeing the downturn of, the adverse effect of that right now. And I'm sad for a lot of people because, maybe they were making bets that they shouldn't have. And it's a very expensive lesson, but I'm glad that we're trying to refocus back to what reality really is.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. It needed to self-correct for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's another question I thought of, the NFT photography space. How does it, so I know you're taking photos of people all the time. How does it differ from the, I guess the real world photography space?
Very different. I mean, so before this space, I would say that most of the people that I associated with regularly were photographers from my association. Like, I had a lot of friends from that, but the focus with them would be like, everyone's like, how do I build my business? Like what marketing they, but it's all like that's a that's an area that I understand really well. Like I had a lot of drive and passion to like build my studio and make it as a photographer, which is not easy to do. And then I came here and I'm like, oh, I have like, I know what to do. I already built one, brand. I can do it again, right? But this space, sometimes it makes no sense. Like, all of like all of the, how to market, how to sell, all of that stuff. Like in some instances, yeah, but in other ways, you're just like, it can be a mystery. And I think that is because this space does run on FOMO to some degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's been interesting. The people that I've met in the space, it's really broadened my horizons because I was really only like associating with photographers, and now I have friends from all different disciplines, and it's really opened my eyes to what I can incorporate like into my own work. And like I want to learn how to digitally paint. I mean, I kind of already do. Right? I'm close, but like I want to do it on like Procreate, and I've played around with AI, and I have a collab coming with someone in the tech side of things, and like there's just a lot that this space has changed for me. It's really great. That was one of the band foundation ones.
Ah, gotcha. So would you say, and I feel like I already know the answer to this, but I see it all the time. But would you say this space is pushing you to learn new things, be more creative, collaborate more, all of that versus the traditional?
I wouldn't say it's pushed me. Like I don't feel like it's something I have to do to be successful, but this space is like it's given me that like fire back, like that the drive that I had when I created my business. And I worked really hard to achieve that. And then I achieved what I wanted to. And then when my mom died and I went through all of this very like life-changing time period, I was like, okay, what's next? Like I was feeling like I was bored. I was like, I need something. So this space gave me my direction, which I love. That's why I'm willing to like put everything into it, because I think this is like the next path for me. So I don't feel like it's pushing me. I'm just like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I want to try everything. And these collabs, I did one recently with Lawrence Fuller, who
Oh, yeah.
spoken word poet and actor. And that really did push me, actually, because I had to do a lot of I had to make like a minute and a half, two pieces, a minute and a half that were visually interesting the whole time, like with movement, which was very hard as a still photographer. But yeah, it's just, I feel like it's taken a lot of the, I don't want to say shackles, but kind of, because before it would be like, well, why would I ever make something that wasn't still? How would I display it? How would I couldn't even use it for competition. So with competition, I didn't make money, but I probably did because my clients were like, ooh, this validates us giving her money because look, she's obviously very good. So, not that I created for competition. It wasn't like I wasn't creating work because I thought they would like it, but usually it justified me spending the time or even the money to make the work because it was still for my business in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I apologize. I've been trying to find that amazing piece. When I saw it, I was like blown away how amazing and good it was.
The Lord
Uh,
one?
yeah, I
It
wanted to show
should be
that.
on my object under like if you see it should be I think right after my most recent one.
Okay, let me take a look here while I'm finding that. Oh yeah, there we go. The dressmaker.
Yeah.
Let's see, just make sure that the audio doesn't blast everybody here. There we go. Yeah, this is a. When I saw this, and I commented on it, retweeted it, but yeah, I thought this was amazing.
Yeah, this really was difficult. It took well from like the we should collab to the finish, it was like a year. And
Wow.
it went through about 4 different iterations. Like I kept coming back because as the year went on, I was learning more skills like for animation stuff. Not I don't even want to call it animation because really what they are is they're cinemagraphs. So I'm not an animator, but to figure out like an an interesting, not just like, okay, here's one image, I'm just gonna, move some parts of it or whatever, but to actually have it like kind of moving through a story, it took a while to figure out, but I did it. Yeah, it was not an easy one, but I'm proud of it, and I'm really happy to be part of this poetics exhibition, which has just been incredible, and really, really something that I think long term will be something that I'll be able to look back on and be like, I was part of that.
Man, yeah, it came out so good, and the whole production of it is just fantastic. I'm a big fan of this.
Thank you. There's another. This is the one of one, and then there is an addition one too. So it was a 2-part.
Okay.
And yeah, I also should mention Cynthia San Luis, who is the female voice in it. I mean, without her, it wouldn't have come out as it was. But when Lawrence first gave me the poem, he gave me like a love story, and I'm like, my initial thought was, have you seen my work? You mean the love story? I mean, I get it now, but at the time I was like, what am I going to do? And it really did push me out of my comfort zone. That's for sure.
Man, it's so good. It is so good. Yeah, I love this type of mixed media type of art. I think it's fantastic. I think going forward, I'd like to see a lot more of this. And I've seen a lot of it so far, but we tend to get stuck in just doing a few things. But man, it's so cool to see all this stuff come together as one cohesive piece. I mean, it screams the future to me. I don't know. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could tell you about the collab that I'm about to get started on, because it's going to be it will be like a groundbreaking thing. Like, I'm so excited, but I can't tell anybody.
Yeah. Don't tell me.
I can't. I'm going to keep it to myself, but yeah, I mean, it's like just a really good example of how this space is, I think it will push art forward, just because never before since the original Renaissance, never before have you had all these artists coming together in this way from all different, walks of art. There's so much opportunity for collaborations that would just never have happened before. Like, Lawrence is in LA and I'm in the middle of nowhere, opposite side of the continent, Canada, right? Like, we would never have met in a million years. So yeah, it's really cool.
And that's the magic of the space. I talk about the real magic a lot, and this is it right here. You get to meet people from different walks of life that have the same interests as you, and then you get to come up with some freaking fantastic art. So that's magical to me. That's a lot. That for me is better than getting a crypto coin and then selling it and making all kinds of money, right? I mean,
that's boring.
Yeah, that's boring. I want to meet cool people. I want to talk to cool people. I want to see amazing art being created. That's special. You can't put a monetary value on that, I don't think. But that's how I feel.
Mhm.
Oh man. So you've obviously had some. You've been to different blockchains. You've done different art. You've collaborated now. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced in this space, the NFT space? Either prior or now, and how do you either overcome them or how do you intend to overcome them?
Challenges. Um, I I don't know. Like this space is, I think maybe early on, I felt like I had challenges based on what had happened to me, and then kind of like, actually, I think early on being on Tezos probably hurt me. Like, I think people were like, wow, I know people were like, why are you there? What are you doing? I don't know if that, how much that affected me. I'm kind of the person who's like, I don't care. I'll do what I want to do. But I don't know. I haven't really. The only thing I could say that has been a challenge in this space is the bro culture. That's like the only thing that bothers me,
Mhm.
really. Um, but I don't really complain about it too much or like to say too much about it, because I think it's just the nature of the space at the moment,
Mm.
where you have this highly like male dominated. I mean, the finance world is male dominated. It always has been, right? And then this is sort of, crypto is like an offshoot of that. It was like mostly males. So I think like, I'm not a person who, I don't think that men are like, I don't want to buy art from women. Like, I don't think that they're doing that. But, when I look through Twitter, or even if I look at my collection, I do collect for men, but I actually collect for more women. And I don't do that on purpose. It's just what I'm drawn to. Like,
Mhm.
I'm drawn to work that has the female gaze or perspective in it. And I think that men are more, not all the time, but are doing like what I'm doing, right? They're just buying what they relate to, what they're drawn to, and oftentimes that's going to be from male artists. So I think, until women get more like equity just in life, right? Like financial equity, this problem's probably always going to exist, but I don't know. I do think like, sometimes I'll walk into a space and if it's like all men on the stage and then I see a bunch of women in the audience, I'm like,
Mm.
or like
Mhm.
I'm running a space and it gets male heavy, I'm like, what is going on here? Let me hear a female voice. Get up here, please. You shut your mouth. No, I'm kidding. No, I might have said that. I might have. Yeah, so I think that being like more conscious is something everybody can do. Like if there's no female voices on your stage, or you haven't heard one in like half an hour, there's a problem. Like bring them up.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And I do agree that, we're kind of in a market where, people will. So there's a few different, like there's the bros, right, that are just looking for a quick flip, right? But there's also the people that collect, and the aesthetic does matter. And sometimes we're drawn to things that we are nostalgic about, or if we you have, and I like a lot of stuff. I'm drawn to a lot of stuff. That's my own problem. But I do agree with you that you know we come from a space that is an offshoot of an offshoot. So, like you said, the financial space, then crypto being an offshoot of that, and then NFTs being an offshoot of that. And I don't think that the folks that have that mindset for that type of trading are quite the market that will exist in the future, if that makes sense. Because I think that we're like on a rocket ship, a trajectory to grow extensively. Um, but we don't have that market yet. But I do think once that market merges in, like the one that should exist here, I think that the balance comes. I hope the balance comes, because I think you will find a lot of different people will be buying a lot of different things, and hopefully for me the balance will be there. And I think that I'm a very, I like the term balance. I like to have both sides represented equally as much as I can. And I do agree with you. If a space is too heavy, I'm just like, wait a second, what's going on?
Yeah. I think like, where I'm coming from, the photography industry years ago was very male dominated. It was like an old boys club, but it's
Mm,
not that way anymore. Like in my association, I feel like there's more women than men at this point, and women are, I think they're taking more of the board positions, and they're really kind of running things. So I didn't realize that, the art world though is not like that. And if you look at the numbers of what goes on in, art sales, like now, in IRL or physical world or whatever, there is a big divide. So
yeah,
even when that art world comes in, that doesn't mean that that's going to be changed. It'll be different though, right? Because
yeah.
um, the conversations will sound very different. But I think that there's still going to be a gap.
Absolutely. And I hope, my hope is that the art space as it exists today changes completely, because that's the hope and the dream of this space, is to make it better. And I hope that there is, I'm not someone in, I grew up with, my mom was an artist, my wife's an artist. I don't consider myself an artist, to be quite frank. But I grew up in that world, and I've always supported them 100%. But I hope that, I wouldn't come in, 6 years ago, I wouldn't be going out buying art, because I don't buy anything, to be quite honest. That maybe that's too much information, but I don't go on Amazon and buy stuff, right? If it's, I don't buy anything really unless I need it. Um, and even then, I struggle with buying it, because I'm always working pretty much. So I don't really buy art. But then I came into NFTs, and I'm definitely buying art, because I think it's really cool. I mean, I really do. And I think the technology is cool, and this is what resonates with me. So I'm hoping this generation, that's, myself, and maybe the younger generation, when they come in, they're the future art collectors, they're the future art scene. And a lot of people are more interested in art versus what the art scene is today. I really hope that that's the future versus what it is now. I don't want those old, the old time thoughts to come into this space. I want this space to change all of that crap, and then make it something better for everybody. I guess that's my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, right now there are definitely issues here in this space, but there's also been some really amazing things. So nothing's perfect, and, we're still working it out, but there's a lot of potential here. And already, like, so many people's lives have been changed. I know a lot of people whose lives have been changed by this space. So, I mean, my life's been changed. I'm a lot busier and a lot poorer than I used to be.
Oh, me and you both. That's a good transition. So what do you think it takes to succeed? So if you're giving advice to the different photographers out there, what do you think it takes to succeed as an NFT photographer, or what we call a digitally native photographer?
Well, if I knew the answer to that, then I'd be rich. No, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what your definition of success is in this space, right? So, um, for some people, it's just about the money, right? They want regular sales, and if they're not getting it, like, it's a failure. But I see this time period right now more as like a period to build, right? So build your relationships, build your portfolio, build your knowledge, and get involved early. I think, like, for me, sales are sort of like they'd be nice to have. Please go buy my work. But I also don't get like depressed about it. A lot of people get depressed about it. I get a lot of DMs from people all the time who are very depressed about not selling. But to be honest, I'm so busy here that I don't really have time to be depressed about it. I don't really even have time to show myself very often. I usually don't, because I'm just involved in so much. So I think that probably I would say to people when they come into this space that, like, don't think of it as like you're here to advertise. Think of it like you're here to make friends and you're here to be part of the community. And if you do that, I think that, the rest will follow. But if nobody knows who you are or nobody cares about you, it's just like shouting into the void.
Mm-hmm.
So many people, it doesn't matter how good your work is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. I say that a lot because we're on Twitter a lot. We're trying to talk, but I've seen people go in and make a Twitter account and then just start throwing, hey, this is my piece. This is how much it is. That's it. And then they expect to make some massive sales, right? And you're like, wait a minute. This takes a lot more. I mean, like you said, it's being a part of the community. It's having a voice, and it's not just tweeting into the void, and expecting people to go jump on it. It's a lot more than that. It's about being part of a community. So I think that that's some fantastic advice for, people just starting out or, who have been in the space for a while and they're just trying to figure things out. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people come into this space with like I'm going to mint my first NFT, and who knows what could happen. Maybe I'll just like blow up, and So there's like this, like, what could happen, and then you get to like reality. You're like, oh, this is a lot more work than I thought. So yeah. I think it's the people who make it through that they're here for the long run.
Yeah. And it always cracks me up if someone hasn't sold a piece, or if it's a high edition, and it hasn't sold out completely. I think you said it right when you said, like, what's your measure of success? If you have an edition of, let's say, 5,000, right, and if you took those prints to a show in real life, and you sold 200. You still would have the other, whatever thousand with you, and you take it home, right? And then you go to the next show and you try to sell those at the next show, right? And I think people get too focused on selling out quickly versus, hey, this is art. It's pretty damn cool. It's sitting here. It hasn't found its collector yet, but eventually it will. So just chill out and wait. I mean, just do something else.
Oh, totally. And you know what? Like, I never, unless my work like won some award or whatever, I really never spoke about it until this space. Now I speak about it all the time. I'm always, a lot of the work I created because, like, I wanted to put like a message out there, whether it's animal rights or MMIW, missing and murdered Indigenous women, or whatever it is, like whatever the issue is. Now suddenly I have this like platform where I get to speak about it all the time. So even if it doesn't sell, like it's accomplished so much more than I ever thought it would. You know what I mean? There's like that means something. I mean, artists love talking about their work. And if you don't think that's true, just spend some time in Twitter spaces and you will find out. People can talk.
They can. I absolutely love it. Listening to artists talk about their work and talk about what they do and the processes and the thoughts behind it is absolutely fascinating to me. Because I don't know, I feel like I'm in a weird mix between kind of like a creative and kind of an analytical person. So it's a little weird for me, but also really fascinating. So yeah, I kind of
Well,
geek out over that.
perfect for you then. That's exactly what the space needs.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is why I'm here. I mean, I learned about it, so over 3 years ago, and I think I've spent every single day since. And like you said, I'm sitting here ignoring my 9 to 5. Don't tell my boss. And and I appreciate it. I mean, I really would rather do this, right? Yeah, it's exciting, man. What a great talk. I wanted to get to some questions from the audience before we give out the POAP. I guess I should give out the POAP. Okay, so for those of you listening, and you have the POAP app, if you're familiar with the POAP app, which you should be at this point, the code is CC Victoria. And if you don't know how to spell Victoria, then you should look up her name.
It's right here on the screen.
It's right there on the screen. So CC Victoria. I will post it in the chat in Discord. And that is the code to get the POAP. So go get the POAP. It's really awesome. It has one of Victoria's pieces on there. It looks really cool. Yeah, a lot of people are saying nice POAP. Great. So yeah, cool. They are on it. That's fantastic. And so a few questions from the audience. Let's see. This is from Frank. He's our economics expert. Does Victoria have a specific process for creating or thinking up themes and subject matter? Or does it come to her like a muse? I think you answered this a little bit in the beginning. Does it come to you like a muse? So I guess, how do these themes come to you?
So early, like I remember when I first started doing the creative work, I didn't know like how to come up with ideas. And I took a course from a photographer named Brooke Shaden, who the course was on how to brainstorm creative ideas. So I like did those exercises, and it did help me like come up with stuff. But I think that being creative and coming up with ideas, it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, like you lose it. The more you use it, like the better it gets, sort of thing. So yeah, now the ideas, it's almost like someone implants them in my brain. Like I need to think. Like sometimes I'll just float around the pool, just like thinking, and then I get an idea. Or driving, I get a lot of ideas when I'm driving. Flights are the best. Flights, I get all these ideas and I'll just put them in my phone. So yeah, I just see it. I see it in my head now. That's kind of how it works.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Let's see. Have you found more opportunities to collaborate? I think you answered this one too. Yeah, you did. Okay. So since Web3, have you found more opportunities to collaborate? We talked about that in depth. I guess would you say that you've collaborated more since Web3?
I never collaborated before Web3.
There you go. It's a magical place.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, I think I mean a lot of these are ones that we went through during the interview. A lot of people saying that they love your work, and yeah, I think we're good on the questions. That's fantastic. So Victoria, this has been an absolute pleasure for me. I've been a big fan of your work for a long time. I know you did a whale interview a long time ago at this point, and that was a good one in a different time. Any conclusion or concluding thoughts that you want to give for people out there? I know you have a big project coming up that you're excited about. Anything that you want to share before we cut off?
Well, I'm actually in half an hour, I'm going to be hosting a metaverse 101 kind of thing. So I'm going to teach people how to get dressed in voxels, so they don't have to be naked when they go to parties. And I'm going to take you on like a tour, and then we'll be giving free wearables that my husband made. I made him make me some wearables for this. So yeah, I'd love to see some people there. It's going to be on Twitter, and then it'll also have like a visual part running in the Discord for anybody who wants to actually follow along. So I'm doing that. And otherwise, thank you so much for having me. To all of you people in the audience, please go buy my work. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. This has been awesome.
Oh man, it's definitely my pleasure. Everybody tuning in, please go check out Victoria's website. She has her own. Definitely check out that space later. I'll post some links in the stream text channel, and we'll also have some links that are available on the YouTube videos and all that. If you follow my Twitter, then obviously you'll see Victoria on there, because I'll be retweeting everything. But she's on Maker's Place. She's on Super Rare, Object, obviously an OG over at Tezos, and Known Origin as well. And so, man, she's everywhere, and she's doing some amazing things. So definitely keep your eye on Victoria and that new project that we haven't heard anything about, but maybe later we will. And then go learn how to stop being naked in crypto voxels. That sounds amazing.
I know. Yeah, naked, bang into the wall.
That's fantastic. Well, thanks again, Victoria. We appreciate it so much. And thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.